A Yahoo search of Renee Johnson will register 13,600,000 hits. The first 10, okay, you know that first page you go to, 3 of them belong to Renee. Actually, the first one and the only picture displayed with the websites is hers. Pretty impressive. So I've known Renee Johnson for 2.5 years and have been privy to a very unique perspective into her life. Getting married to her roommate. That helps. And it's been a blessing to have gotten to know her and really just watch this development as she's become devotional to you. So I think that qualifies me to speak on the speaker of the 20-somethings. Renee is a driven woman, and I will share with you how she's triumphed. First, we're going to look at the struggle. Then we'll take a brief look at that journey, and finally we're going to celebrate. Well, you guys have already kind of beat us to that punch, but we're going to celebrate her achievements. So about that struggle. Mary Case, herself a famous writer, who, by the way, is far more difficult to find in the Yahoo search, once said, "No pressure, no diamonds." Renee suffered from acute eczema for 10 years and suffered through an extreme amount of anxiety through that period of time. And she wrote a book about that, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. She did a far better job than I could. But that was one of the first things that really caught my attention, really made me kind of pay attention. I'm like, okay, well, what does she have to write about? Because she's really struggled, she's really suffered. And I struggle and suffer, so I think I can relate to her. On writing, she's she's been working full-time. But then she's been working full-time writing this book. We're now celebrating. And, you know, as a consequence, for pretty much the entire year, she's been working 60 to 90 hours. And it's been very interesting seeing her, you know, come home and just exhausted, frustrated, and just wants to quit. But she's pressed on, and well, she's finished the book, and that's pretty big. Amy Grant sang, "I'll leave the struggles behind," and you know, we're going to do the same here, and we're going to look at Renee's journey. The journey Renee has traveled in her lifetime has been awesome. She's brushed elbows, has had FaceTime with some big names. When she wrote the Good News music column, she got to introduce Switchfoot and Jeremy Camp, two of my favorite artists. Pretty awesome. I'm pretty jealous. And then with the outreach speakers, she's spoken to Lee Strobel, Josh McDowell, a really awesome picture of her at In-N-Out, by the way, Erwin McManus, and Ben Stein. That's pretty awesome. And that's only to name a few. That's scratching the surface. And the coolest thing, I think, is throughout all this, the entire journey, she continues to just give credit to Christ, to God. And one thing that's been really encouraging to me is in her room she has this picture of these 2 feet, and she draws a lot of encouragement from it. And she was telling me that it's taken from this perspective, and it's just a reminder of the fact that God has healed her and allowed her to walk, and she now has a purpose, so she has to walk that out. I thought that was pretty cool. So moving on from the journey, we've walked all the way to her accomplishments. And they have definitely shaped Renee, and she is more beautiful than ever for having endured them. As a writer, she's done 19 articles for Good News, etc. Pretty awesome. She's had her poetry written here. I would love to hear some of it. And we wrote poetry. And her book, Faith Book of Jesus, Connecting with Jesus Daily, is going to be published next year, so I expect an autograph. And I think the coolest thing, though, all that aside, is just the relational aspect of Renee. I mean, there have been so many times where I needed something, and I've been able to call her and confide in her, and if ever I needed something, she was right there to provide it, and that's been awesome. So, you know, she's reliable, generous, and she has a strength. So there you have it. A brief look at the struggle, journey, and accomplishments of Renee Johnson. A woman who pours her thoughts, struggles, and revelations out for the benefit and edification of others. Your devotional. You should totally like study her website for 4 hours and write a speech, because then you'll understand her better. I was like, I really appreciate her.